from the News Channel 5 Network. This is Pasa Nashville.
Bienvenidos and welcome to Pasa Nashville. My name is Cristina Allen and thank you for joining us today. I'm excited to share with you a new project here in Nashville, a bilingual children's book co-authored by Monica Reyna. And thank you, Brittany Sky, who's with United Methodist Publishing House, for being here today to talk about this new book. Thank you both for being here.
Thanks for having us.
Monica, as a co-author of this book, tell me, how did a book like this you're originally from Mexico and now live here professionally. How did this come about to do a bilingual book? Because are you an author before this?
No, thank you first for having us here. And yes, this is a very exciting project that I heard a friend call me and he wanted me to know more about this project. And when we got together at the publisher, I knew that it was about my family, about our Latino community, I had to say out loud what we are and what we think.
And I think, from my understanding, you and your husband and 3 children have moved to the United States from Mexico.
That's correct.
And they're enrolled in schools here in Nashville. And so you could relate to the idea of creating a book that resonated with you and others, you think?
Yes, definitely. I think this book will approach to the needs of the children that, you know, when you are a kid, you just speak what you hear at the house, and sometimes you say things you don't want to say. And in this book, we printed some ideas of how can we be more than friends and just not thinking on what is happening right now.
So the book is a little bit about how children, both immigrants and non-immigrants, interact.
That's correct.
And what I thought was fabulous about the book is that you have the perspective from the child who's an immigrant, and then you flip it to the other side and it's a perspective of someone who's not an immigrant and how they related and understood what that meant to be an immigrant or be here, or why people are here from different countries. Is that correct?
That's correct. And then the perspective of how they think in their family, even when you are in a Latino community, or if you are American, how do they think and why a word can mean a different thing.
And Brittany, being with United Methodist Publishing House, you are part of the children's resources. Tell me a little bit about that division, and as it is a nonprofit, but the objectives for having the vision to do a book like this, or if you've done others.
Well, the United Methodist Church has been invested in immigration initiatives for a very long time. We have been deeply rooted in social justice issues for about as long as it's been a movement in America. About a year ago, we decided that there needed to be something more done to help children who are hearing and seeing things on the news that are hurtful and harmful. And we thought the best way that we could do that is to create a book. Stories have incredible power, and we decided that we needed to do something through a book, because that's what we do in the Children's Resources Department. We create publications, mostly Sunday school and Bible stories, but we have tried to put our mark in the children's book arena, and that's where Mia and Louise came from.
So is this your first book?
We have one other book out on the market called Eek, Said Amy. It's a perspective on fear and how to use your faith as a way of helping manage fear. From that, we decided we need to do something more concrete, and that also came from higher up. The leaders of the United Methodist Church had gotten together and wanted to do something, and Neil Alexander and Brian Milford, our presidents and publisher, they came up with this book idea, and then they handed it off to us, and we got to run away with it and create this beautiful book. That is very exciting that the leadership from the top understood the demographic shift going on in the United States, especially in the South, and them to be active in trickling it down. So, in sense, do you think the vision of your leaders came from your churches, the demand that they need to understand immigration or understand the terminology and conversation that they're having with their children, the people you reach with your Methodist congregations and everyone else you touch with your bookstores? I do believe that is where this came from. We're hearing a lot of need and desire for having better conversations with the families and their congregations, both immigrant and non-immigrant families. We wanted to create an allyship with our pastors and their families, and we wanted to make sure that the children who were afraid knew that there were people who loved them and cared for them, and so the book idea evolved quite a bit, but it really came directly from this growing need and movement inside our local churches, because they wanted to do more than just sit back and watch children be afraid of being taken away from their families.
And Monica, when you talked about Luis and Mia, it's both perspective. Luis is an immigrant and Mia is a citizen, but kind of tell me how the parents' involvement and understanding. It was really nice to see that Mia, who's an American, and how she shared her new friends' immigrant status with her father. Kind of tell me about how that came about, that story, and how that resonates with you.
Well, I think that it's very important to give the kids that identity of where they are, and to be proud of it. So I thought that if the parents will tell Luis the importance of being Mexican, it's very good, even though it doesn't matter where you are from, it will give another step for them to grow as a person and to share with others the riches of the culture. I think it's very important for us not to forget that our culture, it's beautiful, and it's good to share, and it's good to other people to know where we are from.
And as you know, my mother's from Mexico. I have a huge family in Mexico. I'm originally from New Mexico. So just sharing some of when I had a wedding in Mexico, and we had the lazo and the aras at a Catholic wedding, which no one knows what it is, it's sharing in those cultural things that they embraced.
Right.
Now, from my understanding, you have an education degree in Mexico as a teacher,
right.
and you were a teacher prior to coming to the United States. Did that play a role in how you saw children? Are your children here from a perspective of a teacher as well as a parent?
Yes, because I think that we are learning, and teachers are learning how to understand other cultures, but as they are learning, there are things going on the classroom that they haven't see how to approach on both sizes. So I know this will work, and I know this book will tell or teach the teachers a little bit of us and how do we think when we go home. In the Latino community, it's all about family. It's all about friends. We all discuss things, and I think that's something that America or citizens doesn't understand about us, and why we are all the time together or laughing, because we share our problems. We share how I have this problem. How can I solve it? Or what do you think about that?
Yeah, the family's your resources. Right. I married a guy from here in Nashville, and I think he has 5 first cousins on both sides. I know he does, and I have 23 in Mexico and like another 20 in the United States, and they become your resources as well. So in writing this book, and I understand you read it to your children. What did they say?
Oh, well, my middle one, Bruno, he was so proud. He wanted all his friends to read it, and because he wants them to understand how he felt the first time he was at school, that he didn't know nobody, and you know, sometimes you want to make friends, and friends hurt your feelings when they say things they hear, but how he stood up against those things, so they were so happy about it, and I'm happy. That's my prize, that they are happy about this.
And they are proud of, and especially this accomplishment. We're going to take a quick break, and we're going to come back and continue talking to Monica Reyna, who's a co-author of Luis and Mia, or if you turn it around, it's Mia and Luis, and Brittany Sky with United Methodist Publishing House on the opportunities that you can be part of. We'll be right back with Que Pasa Nashville.